Hi everyone! Welcome to Ife and OKEY'S Love Channel.
We are here to enlighten lives and uplift souls with our love story.
Because God is love and love is God. So when you have love, you have God.
That's why I say sometimes make your prayers really specific, because God is listening. He's hearing you. So make it as specific as you can. Ask for help. If you're asking for help, tell him this is what I want the help to look like, or tell him, just make it specific enough so when you actually see what God sends you, you recognize it and you can confirm it with his word as well.
Just like I said earlier, that God works in mysterious ways. You know, his ways are far different from ours. And I remember after we had that phone call and we prayed together, and God, that was when she specifically confirmed that indeed she needed help, and God made it known to me on the area she needed the help in. Because honestly, she has been having this repeated dream of seeing a man. She saw the man's face, heard the man's name, and she kept on saying that God told her that this is your husband. And this is something she never shared with me, but God told me that she's in this level of mindset that she needs help to step out of this mindset. And believe you me, this is a mindset that will take series of therapy with a very professional, high recommended therapist to pull someone off from this. And that was why I wanted to back out from the journey. Because I'm like, God, are you sure this is not a mindset I'm going to deal with for the rest of my life? This is someone you said that she has been having dreams and seeing a particular man's face, and she has even established communication with this very person, and she has been receiving words that that's her husband. And now here I am. How would I convince her that it's not that man? Because the Lord said I have to pull her out from that mindset first before our own journey will continue. And that was the green light he gave me for us. And the needing help is being able to pull her out from that mindset and make her unsee what she has seen. And because she has a gift of interpreting dreams, she does that well. Believe me, she did a couple of times on my online platform, that's Dr. Love. And I was like, wow, I'm someone that God speaks to. And having God walk through her with the gift of interpreting dreams like Joseph, I'm like, we are two formidable forces that cannot be stopped. So now I understand that God really answers prayers, because she possessed all the qualities I've ever prayed for in a wife. It made me understand why she came to my platform. And the first day she came to my online platform, we were talking about dreams and dreams being manipulated. And God said she needs help with a repeated dream she has had over the years of a particular man being her husband, which she has even reached out to the man and they've seen in person. But just that the qualities she wanted in a husband, this man did not possess those qualities.
By their fruits you shall know them.
And she was in this state of confusion. Lord, she had to travel all the way from Canada to Nigeria to meet this man, because she has repeatedly seen this man in her dreams. She booked the flights. I want you to understand the gravity of what she did. That was the step of faith. All the way from Canada to Nigeria to meet this man she has always seen in her dreams, only for her to meet the man, and the man does not possess any quality of a husband that she has desired. And that got her messed up emotionally, mentally, and believing in God and in marriage as a whole. And that's where she prayed a prayer and said, God, she needs help.
It's kind of emotional.
Imagine that level of faith. And she did what a normal human being would have done. I said that, God, Having a relationship with God is a journey. He tells you the first one, he wouldn't tell you the second step. So when you take the first step, the next step appears. That's the way it works. And this is exactly what she did. She saw a dream. She has a gift of interpreting dreams. She interpreted the dreams, and boom. The next step was to come to Nigeria to meet this man, because this man exists. She searched for the man online, saw the man, came, reached out to him online. They had some few discussions. She came to Nigeria, met him, but the qualities were not there. She was stuck on this crossroad, and she does not believe that dreams can be manipulated. Our next video is how we prepared ourselves individually before we met. And that happened that last year, we met 2022, and in 2020, was when God revealed to me that our dreams can be manipulated. You see, 2020, and I opened that platform 2022, and then we're having a discussion about dream of a revelation I caught 2020 in 2022, and then my wife was among the audience that was listening to what I was saying, and she came up in the panel and disagreed with me. So we disagreed to agree. So this is a union that started with disagreements. But the disagreement was still on, we were on the same track, that God speaks to us through dream. But I was saying that sometimes it can be manipulated, but she disagreed and said it cannot be manipulated. But now it came back to me helping her with that. So my concern was, is this what I'm going to deal with for the rest of my life? Which is a valid concern, because I didn't want someone to be seeing me as someone else.
It definitely would have been a huge burden
Exactly.
on our marriage, to start off a marriage when you think God is leading you to someone else. Because like I said in my channel as well, like during that time where I felt God was leading me to someone else, someone from the past also came back into my life as well, and I reconnected with this man as well. And so that was the situation. It was like this man was also like, I think it's me and it's not this other man. And I'm like, nah, I don't think it's you, it's this other man. You know what I mean? So it was like a back and forth, and I knew for sure it was not the guy that I reconnected with. And I wasn't sure if it was the other man that I saw in my dreams. So I didn't want a burden of that on myself too, right? That's why I asked God, I need help, right? Because I knew the gravity of this. If it eventually is not this man, I don't want whoever it actually is to be burdened by me saying, oh, I think it's this man. I don't want a situation where it's like, what if it's this, or what if this happens? You know what I mean? So it was a huge burden. Like, I just want to show you guys the gravity of the situation. It was a huge burden on me, and I didn't want it to be a huge burden on a marriage, or my marriage, when it finally happens, right?
And see how God works. That's why testimonies are very, very vital. God didn't reveal the full story to me till I told her that God said you need help, and He sent me to help you. And she admitted. And when she admitted, without her telling me the areas, I told her that this and this and this and that. And that took us back to that dream discussion. Now, see how God works. I didn't have to go extra mile trying to explain to her how dreams and how that dream does not work. I just went back to tell her the encounter I had with Dream 2020. Now, as an actor, that period of time in 2020 came out of a movie set, and I normally jump into the next movie set in the interval of a week. And 2 weeks gone, 3 weeks gone, no call, and I was consigned. So I went into fasting and prayer. And in that fasting and prayer, God told me that I'm going to get a call when I'm done with the fasts. So I should not bother about call or session for any other new acting roles till I'm done with the fasts. So I fasted for 5 days. So after the fast, on the 7th day, I got a call from a client that said this movie is actually on Netflix, to tell you how big the movie was. So I got a call from this client, and they're like, we casted you for this role, that role, like you to come in for the audition and all that, a close audition. I said, okay, no problem. I went for it, and later I got a message from them, congratulations, you were selected and all that. Now, this is where how the devil tried to play me with the dreams. And that was when God revealed to me that dreams can be manipulated, because I'm someone that held dreaming on a very high esteem. And the simple truth is that whatever you hold higher than God, that is what the devil will use to tempt you. Jesus himself was tempted after fasting and prayer. After fasting and prayer, not before, after, to tell you that you can be tempted anyhow and anywhere, and take heed lest he fall. He that stands to take heed unless he falls. So there is no level that you get to in life or in spirituality that you think you are above temptation and all that. So what happened was, after I got the role, the script was sent to me and everything, and I was told to meet them at a particular place, that a vehicle will convey me from there to the location, to my place of to the location, which was where I'm lodging as well. But I was not okay with that arrangement, because I'm like, why not just give me the address of the location? Why should I have to meet you guys at a place and the vehicle will convey me from there? It wasn't making sense. So I was like, are they trying to kidnap me or what? I was a little bit concerned, like. So I called the agency. I was like, please, I don't want to meet you guys somewhere and to be conveyed from there to the set. Can you give me the location to the set? I want to drive there by myself. They said no, they don't want to disclose the location. So I was like, okay, no problem. So I was cool with it. I got my things ready because I was leaving the next day for the location they gave me where they would convey me to the place. So I got my things ready, did everything. I said my prayers, thanked God who answered my prayers after the fasting and prayer, and I slept. And then I was in this dream, and I was dressed up like I was going for a friend's white wedding. And we got into this car. They provided a vehicle to take us to the place, to the location, and we got to the vehicle. And next thing, the vehicle was driving through this thick forest. And next thing, they took us somewhere that we saw a lot of locals, like they were with leaves, they were dressed in leaves and all that, and they were with machete. They started, macheting everybody in the car. I was the only survivor, and I was like, what's happening here? So they said, they all stood and was approaching me, because I was at the back of the car. The car was this coaster, the luxurious coaster. So I was at the extreme. So they were all like gently walking towards where I was. It was like a horror movie. So I started speaking in tongues in my heart, in the dream. But they were hearing what I was saying. As I was speaking in tongues, I was communicating with them. And you know how dream works. And what I said to them was, you guys should lead the way, but I will tell you where to go. And they were foolish enough to like, how can I lead you guys from behind? And they all turned. I said, keep moving. I will lead you. And when they came down from the car, I said, what if I start running now, they might turn and pursue me. I said, let me take the chances. If I don't run, how would I know if they will find out? So I said, keep going. I will show you the way. As they were going, I turned back. I ran for my life. I came out where they were, where I came out from the bush. I came to the road, and I flagged down the car, and that was it. And I woke up, and it was a dream. And here I am to go take my bath and go to a location where they will convey me to the set. What was I telling you? And God always speaks to me through dreams. Then I was in a state of confusion like my wife was with the dreams and everything. I was like, I prayed for this. God answered the prayer. So why this? Why would it be a trap? And then another thought was, camouflage will always come before the original thing. We normally say this. And then I was on my bed, cracking my brain, and God said, why have you not consulted me in this? And how do I consult with God? Prayers. I went on my knees. Okay, no, I didn't even go. I was on the bed. I sat down in that position and I prayed. And when I was done with that prayer, God said something. He just said a word to me. The devil will always tempt you with what you value the most. The devil will always tempt you with what you value the most. The devil will always tempt you. If you don't love money, they won't tempt you with money. But just know that that thing that you have high respect for is what they will tempt you with. That's why even the devil can tempt a lot of us with the Bible, like he did with Jesus, and we'll fall for it and say, it is written. He can tempt us with a lot of things. Tradition, societal values, and the rest. I can keep naming. But when God said that to me, I stood up, had my bath, dressed up, I went to the location, and believe you me, as of that year, 2020, that was one of the productions I was highly paid. I was highly paid. And that production lasted for over 2 weeks. And I was well paid. And that was the day God took that veil from my eyes. That all dreams, the significance of dreams. Not all dreams is God talking to you, and not all dreams is a trance, not all dreams is a vision. Some dreams could be from daily stress, what you saw last before you slept, what you thought about last, the devil trying to play a movie for you. Dreams sometimes could just be movie, like you're in the cinema and they're playing something for you. You know, like the devil played for Jesus, said, turn this to this. Do you think Jesus wasn't seeing a visible picture of all those things the devil was telling him? Jump down here and I'll give you the whole wide world. So after telling my wife this story, I knew, because I felt the burden left her. And like God promised that He's going to make it quick and easy. It was a miracle.
Is that an instant?
Instant! Oh, yeah. Oh, you're blessed, my Lord. Instant healing. That was what God told me, that He's going to give her instant healing. And that very night, she received that instant healing. And then we prayed. And that was how she was totally delivered from that dream manipulation. God gave her instant healing. Because if she didn't receive that testimony, prayer wouldn't have solved the matter. She needed to listen. The miracle was that testimony. And that was the help God said she needed. Can you imagine how quick the help was? We spoke at length for 3 good months, every day for 3 good months, before she came down to Nigeria. And that brings us to the concept of marriage. I've always told God that, help me, Lord, give me the perfect life partner. And I promise you, Lord, I will do every work in my aspects to make this marriage perfect. Be the third man in my marriage. I kept on praying that prayer. There's one thing God told me. Some of us think that marriage starts from ceremonies, wedding ceremonies, traditional weddings and the rest. Those things are valid, but they are mere celebration. They are called, it's like birthday. Those are not the thing that made the child to be born. Child is already born. You are calling people to come and celebrate the birth of the child. The same thing with marriage. That was when God revealed to me that any day you ask your wife, will you be my wife? And she says yes. That is when marriage starts. That is when commitment starts. Marriage is commitment. It's not a title. It's a responsibility that must be met. Spiritual, mentally, financially, and every other aspect of life. Your partner should be your best friend. Your partner should be your mother outside mother, your father outside father, your brother outside brother, your sister outside sister. Your soul, you know what a soulmate is? Your you. You confide in your partner. So the Lord told me that. He said, any day you ask your wife if she would marry you and she says yes, if she agrees, because 2 cannot work together except they agree. It does not say 2 cannot work together except the community agree. But it's vital the community is with you people. But that the agreement is not what determines your union. So when the Lord told me this, I started asking her every day by day. That was the day I started calling her my wife. My wife. And then when she told me of her plans to come to Nigeria, I asked her a question. I said, I have plans to propose to you. If I propose to you, what would you say? The first day I asked her, she said, she didn't answer, but she smiled over it. And I asked the second day. I think it was on the second or the third day she said she would say yes. I said, okay. I knew she came back during this on December 5th, as of last year. And my birthday was December 21st. And I planned on proposing to her on my birthday because I planned on celebrating my birthday huge. I planned on having a very huge celebration, birthday celebration. So I was like, oh, that's when my friends are around, everybody's around, I'm going to propose to her. That was my plan. That was the plan I had. But when she came back to Nigeria and everything I saw on camera, every voice I heard over the phone, her physical presence superseded every of it. And like they said, if God is involved, you have your peace, you have your joy. They didn't say the joy of the world or the peace of the world. The world might be in chaos, but you yourself, because even when others say there's a casting down for you, there's an uplifting. I had my peace, and that was the moment I didn't care about what the world was saying, because I heard God and I had my peace. When you hear God and you don't have your peace, you can question it, because you'll be unrest. You have unrest. But I heard God and I met her in person and I had my peace. Then I was waiting up for 21st of December. And I remember on the fateful morning, on the 7th of December 2022, I was asleep on the 6th. And in the morning of the 7th, the Lord woke me up from a deep sleep and said, take your wife to church, and in the presence of my people, ask her hand in marriage. That was what the Lord said to me specifically. And I got up from that deep sleep. I had a rest. I said I've ever grown to question God when He speaks crystal clear. In the earlies of the morning, I stood up that day, went to the mall, and I bought the ring. And I got back home. I didn't let her know. I told her that was on a Wednesday. I won't forget. And I said, dress up. We're going for Wednesday service. We're going to church for Wednesday service. I'm like, okay. I remember she was testing clothes. Oh, what should I wear? Should I wear this? I said, just wear anything you want to wear. Clothes is not the problem. She dressed up, went to church. God told me something to confirm God's word. He said, I said, God, I've not seen people propose in church during church service. What would they think of me? Would it obstruct the service? How would they perceive this? God told me that the church media will carry the news. That was what God told me. He said, the church media will carry the news. And I said, oh, for the church media to carry this, I have to sit in front of church. Everybody will see it when it happens. God did not say anything again. That was when I had my peace. I just dressed up, told her dress. We went to church. We sat in the middle row. So, and every word that the preacher preached that day was about me. And everything my wife had told me before we came to church. And she turned, I remember her turning to me and she said, I told you. Didn't I tell you this? See, this is a confirmation of everything I told you. The man spoke to me. That service that day was for me. I thought it was all about the proposal. I didn't know that God was building me for the marriage. So that gave me peace and convinced me that this can only be God. And I remember when the service was about to close and I called one of the ushers and gave him my phone and said, I want to propose to my girl. So when I'm doing it, just have a record of it and all that. He was like, okay, cool. And when they had the benediction, I went on my knees and I said, there is no other place I could do this but in the presence of God's people. I love you and I want you to be my wife. Will you marry me? And she said yes. And I wore her that ring. I showed him pain. And I wore her that ring, and marriage started for us. The journey started for us because two is now in agreement. That was where the journey and the responsibility of husband, father started for me, and for her wife and mother started for her. We started the journey that very day.
So I think with the story that my husband has told us, I think the main thing there for me was, as long as we agreed, right? That was where the marriage started. And that's also something that God confirmed to us as well. Because a lot of times we look at it and we're like, oh, will my family accept? Will this accept? Would that person accept? But the truth is, would you accept? And once you accept, then it doesn't really matter 100% what the rest of the family or what the rest of the people around you would say or would do, whether or not they would accept this person. Because you are marrying one person, you are not marrying a family, right? It's both of you that are marrying to start, like you're getting together to start a family of your own. You're not marrying a family that's already existing. Now, it's really nice and it's really lovely if everybody comes together and they decide that, you know what, we like this person, and they just make your transition easier for you to extend the family. But truthfully speaking, you are starting your own family. So everybody else coming inside of it, brother, sister, uncle, auntie, mother, father, they're all now going to be your extended family. And that, I think, is one of the main things that I learned when God told us that if we both agree together, then that is the true marriage. So now when God told my husband to go into the church and to propose in front of his people, that was to get witnesses. That's God's way of saying we need witnesses, because now this is a marriage. To God, for us, it's a marriage because there's witnesses around us. But the truth of the matter is, I actually came into agreement with my husband before that church service, right? And so between us and God, it was already a marriage. But then God said, come into church and have witnesses, because that's also important to God. I think the advice here would be like, listen to God. Whatever he tells you, do it. It doesn't matter what everybody else thinks. It doesn't matter what everybody else says. Whatever God tells you, do it, because your walk is with you and God. When you get to heaven, God is not going to be like, oh, this person made you do this or that person made you do this. It's between you and God. So listen to God. I cannot judge you. If somebody comes to me and tells me God told me to do this or that, I will not judge you based off of that, because I'd be like, fine, that's your relationship with God. You know what your relationship with God is. As long as it's God in heaven telling you this is what you should do, please listen to God. And that's why it's very, very important to know how God speaks to you specifically, so that you will always hear God's voice and it will never be manipulated for you, right? So that's a big takeaway for me.
So marriage is more of building a new family or starting a new family than expanding an already existing family. So we should know where the focus of our attention is in for a long-lasting marriage. So our next video, we'll be talking more about meeting the parents, how I met her parents and how she met my parents. And we'll be talking more about how we worked on our individual selves to even make it possible for these meets to happen.
I hope that everyone here learns from our journey. That's the purpose of us sharing with the rest of the world, so that it helps everybody that's watching. And remember that if you are here and if you're watching this video is supposed to be for you. So we just want to say thank you for coming into our channel, for listening to us speak.
Thanks for watching. Remember, like, subscribe, and share. Hit the notification button. Stay tuned to Ife
and OKEY'S
Love Channel.